Hello, everybody. Ranreads here again. Today, I'm going to go over the October TBR. I've already started some of these, and I have actually finished most of these, besides one. But we'll probably read more after that. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, the first one on the list on the TBR that I had wanted to read for the moment I heard about it was The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. This is my first Joe Abercrombie book, and it is an amazing book. Joe Abercrombie does a lot of fantasy and grimdark, but with this one he went in a different way, and this book is amazing. And so what it's about is a band of whatever you want to call them, hellions, hoodlums. they it puts the unlikely characters that would fit together or wouldn't fit together, but they work together so well. And there's some funny parts in there that are like, you don't expect there to be humor in here, but there is. There's also some romance in there as well. It's a good mix of everything, and he just does it so well. This book I recommend if you're not into a lot of his other books, if they're too much, definitely go with The Devils. It is brutal when he describes certain things. I'm not gonna say it's all hunky dory, but it gets bloody. I'm gonna tell you that. It can get really, I wouldn't say gross, but like, he's very descriptive on how someone is offed, if you know what I mean. But I gave this book, I think I gave it a 4. Actually, I think I gave it a 5. Yeah, I gave Joe Abercrombie The Devils a 5-star because I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it. It is a really good book, and it's going to be a trilogy. I'm excited for it. I can't wait for the next one. The next one on the list is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So yes, this is different from what I had talked about of what I usually read is fantasy, horror, sci-fi. So I branched out and went into romance, and I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And it is an amazing book. For my first romance book, it was really good. I really liked it. I gave it a 4. I did like it, but I can't recommend it because it's my first romance book. But for my first romance book, it was a really good story. It's about a story about a woman who's a vampire, and she has to do things for her people unwillingly, and ends up falling in love with another guy who's a werewolf, and it turns into such a beautiful story between them, of how both species work and don't work, and there's also humans in there, and there's not a whole lot of fighting, but there is, and it can be funny at sometimes. The main character, she's kind of like what do you like she jokes around. She has like a kind of an attitude. She she wants to, or no, well, yeah, I would say she is. She's a very strong woman. Tries to hold her own. But in this world, werewolves are stronger than vampires, but uh, there's a lot of conflict between humans, werewolves, and vampires, and they live all together. In like in this one, it's like in a city, and like yeah, it's like a city, and then there's different like places that they're supposed to be in, compared to other cities where they're all mingled together. But overall, I think that book was really good. I enjoyed it, but like I said, I can't say I can recommend it because it's my first romance book. But I definitely would say if you like romance, you would like it, unless you don't like it. I mean, it is a paranormal romance. If you don't like those, then you won't like this book. But I enjoyed it. It was really good, and Ellie Hazelwood does. She's done contemporary romance books. I haven't read any of them, but I plan on reading her second book, Mate, which is like a sequel kind of, but it's not. It goes off a different character. But I'm gonna read that one and go from there. She said it was just gonna be the two books. People were hoping for a trilogy, but from what we hear is it's not gonna be a trilogy. It's just gonna be two books. But she did say she was gonna write more paranormal romance books. So I guess we'll keep looking out for that. But yeah, on to the next one. So the next one was recommended by my wife. A Court of Mist and Fairy. Wow. So this one, I feel like I should have given this one. I think I gave I gave this one a 6. The last one I gave a 5, I believe. And man, this one really blew my mind. I really got into the story. Like there was times where I had to stop and I was just talking to my wife about what the heck is this? Why is it going to be like this? Why does she have to do this when he's doing this? It's like it really grabs you, and in this book it really opens the door of if you pay attention to the first book, everything comes together in the second book, and it's so good. I want to continue reading it, and man, yes, there was some spice in it, but it wasn't like too spicy where it's like, okay, that's a little much. It was just right. Like it was enough to be like, okay, that's fine. I could deal with that. It was spicy, but I definitely recommend this book, especially if you are a dude and your wife is recommending you to read this book. Go ahead and read the book. Start reading the series. Once you get like the first book, when I read it, I think I gave it a 5. I loved it. Actually, no, I gave it a 4. I don't know. I think I should have gave it a 5, but this A Court of Mist and Fury, I gave a 6, which is really good. The love story in it really blossoms. There's some spice, there's some action, there's some fighting, and it's such a really good book. It's not what most men think it is. It's not this smutty book. I mean, there's some smut in it, but not. But it's more of a fantasy romance with a little bit of smut in it, and some Sarah J. Maas does such a good job of intertwining all of that and not getting cluttered or anything. And she just does a very good job of telling the story and getting you, especially if you read the books how I read them, where I have an audiobook and I follow along, which gets me more immersed into the book. And man, if you do it that way, it's just, oh man, just you have to read it. Dudes, you need to read this book. Like, wives, if you're out there, get your husbands to read this, or your boyfriends, or whatever. I think it would widen their minds and blow their minds at the same time. Maybe they won't even have a brain afterwards. Or maybe they'll change the way they look at you. Maybe. Because, man, this book makes you feel a certain way. I feel it makes you feel like, if you're a man, it's going to make you feel like, okay, that's how I should treat my woman, how it should be. That's how I feel. I'm not going to give anything away because, man, you have to read into it. I think I didn't go, well, I did read the first book, but I think you go in not even reading the summary on the back of the book or inside of the book, because going into it kind of blind, I would say. If you read the first book, you're not going in blind, but kind of. Man, it really blows your mind. It is an amazing book, and you should read it. But let's get to the next one. So the next book I read was a novella, short story, which was called The Knight and the Butcher Bird by Alex E. Harrow. I had seen her other books, I think it's called The Everlasting. I've been wanting to read it, but I haven't gotten into it. So my wife told me about this book, which kind of gets you into how she writes. And I gave this book a 4. It's a beautiful book. Yes, a lot of these books I said I read, but these were on my TBR. But this one was... So I was going to read something else, and I accidentally fell upon this book, and it was what she was recommending, but I found a different one. The one I'm actually currently reading, but we'll get to that one in the later. But this one, Alex E. Harrow does a good job at this one. I haven't read any of her other books. I'm hoping to read her other book, The Everlasting, because I've heard it's really good. I want to read it. Maybe I'll read it later this month, or maybe next month it'll be on the TBR. But this one really gets you into how she writes and how her stories would turn out. And this one is about a knight who, his name is Sir John, and who fights demons. And it's like, I guess it's like in this post-apocalyptic like world, and like there's these outsiders that live like outside, and then there's like cities that have like all this like nice where people live longer, but the people that live outside of these, they don't live as long, and they're more subjected to like diseases and other things like demons, and people turn into demons. And it's a very interesting story. You follow along with this woman. Her name is, she goes by Shrike, which is a word, I guess a name for a bird, which is also called a butcher bird. and it just it if you when you read it you're like, oh, this is just a horror kind of book, and really it's not. It's a fantasy, and it has a beautiful romance behind it. The romance is not really there. You don't see it until like towards like the end, and mind you, it's not that big of a book. It's like, it says it's only 36 pages, but I might repay. That might be wrong. But it has a beautiful romance in it. The main character, her loved one had turned, and it I'm not gonna give it away, because it is a short story, so I could easily give the whole story away. But it has a beautiful romance in it, and it might make you cry a little bit. And if it does that for you, come on, it's a good book. I gave this novella a 4, because it's only a novella, and I enjoyed it. There's not too much of the book. If it was like an actual like full size novel, I would definitely recommend. I still recommend it if you're wanting to get into her other books. I feel like, because that's what I've been hearing, is that you should read this or this about how she writes, and I definitely recommend that, to read The Night and the Butcher Bird. Yeah, my wife also told me about that, because I had told her I was looking at The Everlasting. But yeah, let's get into the next one. So the next one on the list is The Night Guests by Marina Scott. So this book goes into historical Gothic horror. Other places say it's a romance, but the romance is not really there. I gave this one a 3 because it is a slow kind of, like, it kind of drags on. Her writing's really good. I'm not saying that she's a bad writer. She wrote it really well. It's just I feel like it should have gone a little bit at a steadier pace compared to where it was. It was really slow, and where I found it, what I was looking for was another romance book, and for some reason this one came up, but the romance in this book, it lacks. It's not really there, and I don't think it's supposed to be romance, so I don't think that's on Marina Scott on her end. I think that's where I found it, where Kindle put it, which was in the romances for some reason, where it should be in horror. But at the same time, when I read a horror book, I mean, that's all I've read. I've read Stephen King books, David Soderbergh, Guillermo del Toro, and Brom, and I feel like, I guess it is different, a different type of horror, where it's more ghost, paranormal kind of stuff, which it is descriptive. I can't say that it's not there. I don't know. I wasn't into it. I was kind of looking forward to it a little bit, because it did come out this month. It came out on the 1st. So they said. But I don't. It's, man, if you like ghost like stories and stuff, like it's not a ghost story. It revolves around a woman. Her name is what's her name? Nina, and she's dealing with a lot of grief. Where her dad had passed away, her brother passed away. She has to deal with her mom, who doesn't like her at all, blames her for everything, and she finds herself becoming a medium and doing seances in her house and stuff. And she could see ghosts, and she helps them. And then there's also this weird romance, but it doesn't turn out to be a romance, and it's really weird. It almost turns into a triangle, but it's not. It just it ends really well, but I was looking for more of a romance, and it wasn't there. But the horror part of it, from all the horror books I've read so far, I feel like there could have been more. Like I said, the horror books that I've read are different from this one. This one is more on ghosts and stuff like that, where the other ones are more like, well, the horror was kind of a ghost, but it was more of a living thing. But those books I've read are more like they're physical, like entities going after people or doing things. Where this one, it's like not. It's just ghosts. She does describe very well, and if you can't stomach that, then I wouldn't read any Stephen King or anything like that. But she does go into detail on how a ghost looks and how they died and stuff like that. So from there, I would say it is a good book, but for me, it was kind of a meh kind of book. So, yeah. So the next book is the Butcher and Blackbird. This one is I accidentally found. I was looking for The Knight and the Black Butcher Bird, and I, for some reason, put Butcher Bird together instead of Butcher and Blackbird. So came this book. It's a kind of a dark romance. I haven't gotten into it. I just started reading it last night. And so far it's kind of funny. It's about it's about a woman and a guy named Sloan and Rowan, and apparently they go on some kind of killing spree for like serial killers. They kill bad people, which is an interesting twist. But so far, I've been liking it, and like the couple pages I've read. So definitely, probably by when we go back and we do the like what we've read this month, we'll get more into it. But I'm really liking this book. I went into it blind, and I think I do that with a lot of my books. I go in blind, and I think I'm gonna really like this book because it has that humor, and also it's another romance. So it's I think it's gonna. If I liked the last one, this one I think I'm gonna like. But that is the TBR. I've heard a lot about it, so yeah. I hope I like this one. But that is the TBR for October. Obviously, some of these I've already read. But they were on my TBR. And I think I have 2 of the books physical. I just haven't gotten the rest. But if there's any books that you guys want me to read, put it in the comments. Or if you're on the Discord, go ahead and put it there. I think I have it at a channel there that you can put it on. But yeah, that's the TBR. If you guys are reading this, or if there's more that you think I should be reading, you know, like I said, leave it in the comments. Leave it over there on Discord. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy. I hope you. Okay, so that will be the end of this one. I'll see you in the next one. Keep on reading. Don't get lost in your books.